Fox News alert, it is all pomp and pageantry in Beijing. The Chinese just rolled out the red carpet, welcoming President Donald J. Trump and his delegation to the capital. The weather in Beijing was a hot 87 degrees when Air Force One touched down. Good thing Miller brought his Bermuda shorts. POTUS and his team were greeted on the tarmac with flowers, a military band, and hundreds of little Chinese children smiling and waving American flags. It's the first time a U.S. president's visited China in almost 10 years. The last time, Trump. Before that, it was Obama, and Barry didn't get the full Beijing welcome. The Chinese didn't even put up a staircase. Barack had to take the tiny stairs like Biden and come out the back door, and didn't even get a red carpet. The reception, let's call it frosty. One Chinese official even got into a scuffle with an Obama staffer on the tarmac and told him, "This is our country, this is our airport." Things are a little different this time. The Chinese people were delighted to welcome Air Force One. Here they are snapping pictures at the spectacle because Trump is kind of a celebrity in China. Rubio, not so much. He was banned from the country. Trump had to order Xi to let him in. So China changed his name so we could bypass sanctions. So for the next 48 hours, Rubio's name's Liu, Marco Liu. Trump also brought Hegseth, his top trade rep, Miller, obviously, and his son Eric, all on board. Vance, feeling a little left out.
So as you know, the president just landed in China a few hours ago. I always, you may know that because of Secret Service protocols that I don't travel outside of the country with the President of the United States. So on days today, I sometimes feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. I walk into the White House and it's very quiet and no one's there, and it takes me a second to realize exactly what's going on.
The last time a VP flew to Beijing, he came back with $1 billion for his son. Those days are over. Air Force One also flew over some CEOs. Elon Musk hitched a ride. So did the CEO of NVIDIA, the chip guy. He accidentally got left off the list, so we picked him up in Alaska during the refuel. The other CEOs from Boeing, Apple, Visa, they flew solo. I think Boeing has their own plane. But the CEOs are worth nearly $1 trillion. So the president expects there's going to be a lot of money made on this trip. More on that in a bit. But first, dinner. The menu on Air Force One, a little taste of China. Beef stir fry with a little bok choy and lo mein fried in a sesame and soy sauce. Came with 2 spring rolls. And for dessert, yep, fortune cookies. Crack one open, you get this message. Welcome aboard Air Force One. The president's hoping for some good fortune this year for us and the Chinese. After dinner, Rubio talked shop with Hannity.
Do you view China as our top geopolitical foe?
Yeah, it's both our top political challenge geopolitically, and it's also the most important relationship for us to manage. I mean, it's a big, powerful country. It's going to continue to grow, but we're going to have interests of ours that are going to be in conflict with interests of theirs. And to avoid wars and maintain peace and stability in the world, we're going to have to manage those. There are clearly areas where they're so important for the United States that we're going to have to raise those issues, and we'll continue to do so. The president's going to continue to do so. There might be some areas of cooperation, too, and we want to make sure we don't walk away from those.
The president's heading into the summit with the wind at his back. Since their last meeting, he's painted China into a corner. The U.S. military has been wargaming off their coast with our Pacific allies and striking defense deals with key players to secure choke points. Last week, we shot a Tomahawk right into the South China Sea. And on the day today, Trump touched down, Taiwan's conducting defense exercises, testing out their tanks and javelins. We just sold Taiwan $11 billion in weapons. And there's another $25 billion package waiting for Trump to sign when he gets back from Beijing. The United States is making a lot of money in Asia. We just signed a huge energy deal with the Japanese. All week, Besant's been in Tokyo.
We discussed a broad range of issues. We discussed the very strong U.S.-Japan bilateral relationship. We discussed the U.S.-Japan investment program. We discussed critical minerals. We discussed President Trump's visit to Beijing.
Today, Besant nailed down part of our trade deal with South Korea. We created an AI tech colony in the Philippines, and we're striking mineral deals all over the world, from Greenland to Ukraine to the Congo, to wean off Chinese supply chains. And at any moment tonight, the president will be meeting with Xi and hand him a Sharpie.
President Trump still hasn't seen President Xi yet. That is going to happen a few hours from right now during an official state welcome ceremony for President Trump at the Great Hall of the People. We expect that to look basically like China's version of what the U.S. did for King Charles a few weeks ago back on the White House South Lawn. When the two of them, though, get behind closed doors, we know exactly what President Trump is going to make his first ask, and it has to do with all these American CEOs who rode on Air Force One with him into Beijing.
The Democrats opened up America to China and got nothing back. So Trump's going to force China to open up to us. If everything now is made in China, they better start buying American. They'll be buying Boeing planes with GE engines. American tech companies will get the Chinese hooked on our chips, not the good ones. Elon wants to sell them cars. Apple wants to sell them phones. And the president wants him to keep placing big, beautiful orders with American farmers. They're calling the summit Boeing Beef and Beans. Economically, China doesn't have the upper hand. Their markets are starting to show cracks. They're sitting on a mountain of bad debt, have a housing crisis, the population's aging out, and our chip controls and blockade, they're starting to bite.
China's economy is export-driven, meaning their economy is fueled not by what they consume domestically, but by what they make and sell to other countries. Well, if all the countries of the world economies are melting down because of this crisis in the Straits, they're going to be buying less Chinese product, and the Chinese exports are going to drop precipitously. So it's in their interest to resolve this. We hope to convince them to play a more active role in getting Iran to walk away from what they're doing now and trying to do now in the Persian Gulf.
We kicked the Chinese out of the Panama Canal and took their two biggest black market gas stations, Iran and Venezuela, offline. The Middle East is an American sandbox. We have the Jews and Arabs on the same side. And China's reliance on straits has been exposed big time.
The Chinese have ships stuck in the Persian Gulf because setting up a system that says we're going to let certain ships through but others not, it's easier said than done. And you saw a Chinese, not Chinese flag vessel, but it was a Chinese cargo, got hit over the weekend. I'm sure Iran didn't do it deliberately, but they did it. It happened. And so that's why these Chinese ships are stuck in there.
The Chinese need an open strait much more than we do. We could restart Project Freedom tomorrow and help the Chinese tankers sail out. But what are they going to do for us? Is Xi going to call the gay Ayatollah and tell him to cut a deal? Trump says we don't even need China's help. Trump's wall of steel is stronger than the Great Wall of China. So it's a battle of wills. We need the uranium, and they need the strait open. The vice president gave us a little update on peace talks. Listen.
He needs to feel confident that we've put a number of protections in place such that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, right? That is the question. Do we meet that threshold or not? I think that we've made a lot of progress since we left Pakistan. I thought we made some progress in Pakistan, but we've made more since then. But that is fundamentally what we're negotiating towards, is we want to be able to look the American people in the eye and say with confidence that you are not going to have to worry about this very, very dangerous regime having access to the most dangerous weapons in the world.
Peace is in everyone's interests. Iran's, China's, the United States. Instead of making war, we can make money. But the president will be firm on fentanyl, hacking, and espionage. And China knows Trump won't buckle on Taiwan. The United States is still the superior military and economic power. We're adding 3 bases in Greenland and getting 5 brand new icebreakers to kick the Chinese out of the Arctic. Plus, we just beat them to the moon and brought home the hockey gold. Donald Trump was the first president in decades to confront the Chinese. And he's got an average of about 50% tariff rate still slapped on. And Operation Economic Fury means the Chinese will face an oil embargo if they ever decide to get cute. But the president has also cultivated a strong and genuine relationship with Xi Jinping. And he's managed to navigate the last decade with the Chinese well, besides the China virus. More on that later. So all eyes on Beijing tonight as the summit kicks off at any moment. Anything could happen. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.